Welcome back to the neighborhood. This week's episode, our first guest tonight is Devin Denova. Devin, welcome to the neighborhood, my man.
It is an honor.
Devin is many things. Right now, he is a realtor at KW Morristown, TCS, New Jersey.
Marlton.
Marlton.
Okay, it's older. Yep.
Marlton, Morristown, Marlton. It's all the same, really
Same
wonderful,
names.
awesome town to live in. You know what I mean? And also runs an incredible self-development, personal development group called The Harvest, which we're a part of. So, Devin, before we get into the harvest end of things, just talk a little bit about your beginnings in real estate, and maybe even a little bit before real estate, some of the life journey you've had.
How much time we got on this?
We got time. We got time.
I ain't gonna hit people with my life story, but I'll try and speed it up. So, it's funny when I lead into something, I have to tell the story behind it. But just to keep it very simple, I was in the restaurant business.
A lot of really great people to start off with.
Yeah.
I started out in the restaurant business.
I tell everybody, I always suggest people at some point in their life, obviously when they're younger, get into the restaurant business, like whatever, serve in tables, like learn how to serve people, but it just, the stuff that you learn being in the restaurant business, the skills that you develop, multitasking, talking with people, service, all that good stuff, man. But even now, there are so many people now, like, I have conversations with people who are recruiting, who are trying to hire, whether it's, doesn't matter, any type of field, looking for managers, stuff like that. And a lot of people don't understand, there's a lot of talented people in the restaurant business that, have great backgrounds, have degrees, whatever it is. They're just in the transition period of, what do I want to do, right? I need to make cash now, but there's a lot of talent in there, man. So,
Yeah, for sure.
got into the restaurant business. Then, I got fired when I was 21. I was about to be the youngest GM in the whole company. That was the goal. I was the youngest kitchen manager prior. Did some stupid shit. Got fired when I was front of house manager. We won't go into details on that, but just know that happened, and everything happens for a reason. So that got me. I transitioned out of there, and I was like, what do I want to do? And I started bartending, and then I always knew I wanted to be in a business. I always knew I wanted to get the most out of life. Right, and that, and that's, at that time, it was like, all about finances, right? I want to make the most money that I possibly could, because, I come from a background to where we always, my parents set us up, right? But it was always like anything extra. I never like to say I came from nothing, none of that stuff, because I was provided enough to do whatever I want in life.
Right.
I never got the extra stuff. It was like, hey, we're going to give you what you need. Everything that you're going to want, you got to go out and get. You got to go out and make the money. You got to make that path. So I watched a show, I didn't have a college degree at the time, watched a show called $1 Million Listing, which mixed emotions watching that now when you think of how...
Was it LA or New York? Which one were you watching?
At this time, this was like 10 years ago, maybe New York. But it was like, it grabbed my attention. I was like, wow, I would thoroughly enjoy being in this business, selling houses, showing people houses. Like, this is a product that I would love to sell and build a career off of. And there's no limit to what you can make, which was very important to me, and I didn't need a college degree. So then that's when I got my real estate license. That's what kind of triggered me to get in there. Obviously now I know a lot of it's staged, so on and so forth, but nothing's ever gonna be 100% perfect, but hey, I'll tell you what is sometimes when I watch it I get annoyed. That's one of the reasons why I even got inspired to be in real estate. So that's kind of a little background on how I got into real estate.
Sure. And you started off, did you start off at Keller Williams?
No, I actually, when I first got into the business, I was working at Maggiano's. I was maybe serving tables at this time. Not bartending, I don't even know, but got my real estate license, and my buddy, man, what a throwback name, my boy Anthony Pinto, was like, yo man, I got my license too. I'm working with this guy, Jason, in Long and Foster. And I was like, I was like, all right, cool. I'm like, whatever, it's a team. I was like, let's go. Like, whatever. I don't know anybody else.
Jason Graf?
Who is like an older brother to me.
Yeah,
one of the nicest. Awesome dude. I like love him. He's like family to me. So when I got into the business, thankfully, man, I just I got into the business with being on Jason Groh's team. At that time, it was called the Richie Groh team. Actually, Mark Ritchie and Jason Groh were partners at one point.
Okay.
And that's kind of when I got into the business, man. So that's a good little throwback story. But yeah, and me and Jason still today, man, are great friends, and he's just always been a mentor to me, a big brother to me, just an all around like great human being. You know what I mean? So can never say enough good things about Jason. I always like to give people like my compliments because
Sure.
everybody plays a part in who I am today, and he was a big part of that.
Awesome. And how did the TCS NJ thing come about? Like a lot of people, especially over in Philly, they hear TCS PA. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But a lot of them haven't heard of TCS NJ or aren't as exposed to it as they are there. So how did that come about?
So I years later, and it was you know, it wasn't like a bad breakup or whatever, but I decided to make the jump to Keller Williams, but it was only because you know, I saw the condo shops, right, who is my partner now, you know, they at this time, right, and I was always trying to think like, you know, like what, you know, obviously when you're growing in the business, you're always getting approached, but I'm a super loyal guy, man.
Yeah.
So, and you know, it was just at that time, I saw that the condo shops made the change to Keller Williams. I was like, man, if they did it, like there's something to be said.
Sure, sure.
Right, this is a huge boutique company, one of the premier real estate companies in all of Philadelphia. And that was when I was like, okay. And then, you know, Ken Weller connected with me, who's a partner of Rittenhouse Realty Advisors. He's another real estate mogul now.
Sure,
He's
sure.
unbelievable. But then, so that's when I joined Keller Williams, right? So I made that switch to Keller Williams, and at that time, I actually joined the Washington Township office. And I was just my own team, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was at this moment, it was just me and my wife, DiNofa team.
Right.
Right, and then we started, you know, growing at a rapid pace. We then partnered with a longtime friend of mine, Tom Wenger, who's now a partner on our company. Next thing you know, Andrew,
Yeah.
he joined us. Actually, my great friend Chris Chalet, he joined us also. So he's like a transaction manager and leader in our
Sure,
company too.
sure.
I've known him for 12. It's funny, all these people that are here, a lot of them I've known for 10, 12 years.
Right.
You know, so then we started, you know, getting some massive traction. I want to share this with you because last week we were talking about like manifestation, and there was a time when I told a few brokers, I was like, you know, I want to have like, I want to be the name for Philadelphia and New Jersey, right? And at this time, this was actually when I was still at Long and Foster, believe it or not. And you know, I won't say names, but a few people said, well, how you gonna do that, man?
Right.
Like, you know how hard it is to get like, you know, to get a name in just one neighborhood, let alone Philadelphia and South Jersey. So I was like, you know, I don't know how I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? But I do know that this is something
That's the goal.
That's the goal, right? And don't you know, right? I don't know. Maybe let's just say fast forward 2 years later, DiNofa team's crushing it. Then Gerard reached out to me and said, hey man, listen, this is the deal. We're looking to expand. We love what you guys are doing. We feel that, hey, if we combine powers, we can do some amazing things, not just in residential. Like there's just a bigger world that we can just help way more people. We can help way more realtors grow too as we do it. And then we merged with them and started TCS New Jersey. Right now, the reason why I want to go back to what I just said 5 minutes ago, now, right, we are a team with TCS, right, New Jersey, and I don't want to, we have some other cool things coming up. But for the most part, with TCS now, between both sides of the bridge, we're the only team that can say we do well over $300 million in production.
Right.
Right? So now, guess what? You know, that person who said this 5 years ago, now our team on Philadelphia and South Jersey are one of the premier teams that can say they do the most production in South Jersey and in Philadelphia combined.
Awesome.
Crazy how that worked out.
Man.
You know what I mean? Now, to be, you know, it's not like I am just one but you know, it's a whole team thing, but it's just crazy when you put things out there one way or another. If you continue to believe and put that action behind it, sure enough, it happened.
Yeah.
You know, so that was, I just like to throw that. So
That's
it's pretty
awesome.
cool how that
That
worked
is
out.
awesome. And I've talked about the Harvest on the show a bunch of different times, and we've had a couple Harvest members on here, but you're the founder of the Harvest. So talk a little bit about how that came to be. Like, was that just you woke up one night in hot sweat and were like, hey, I want to form this group and call it the Harvest? Or how did that come about?
So one thing that really helped me, you know, let's just say 8 years ago, really get traction and grow my business was when I had this aha moment on personal development, right? And I realized that, man, the more I worked on myself and my mind, it's not a coincidence that my business is growing. My health is getting better. My relationships are getting better. My brand is getting better because of the content that I'm putting out there. I'm attracting people right? So then, as I was still fresh into the business, people, I started getting that energy out there, and people were like, man, they're starting to talk, and then I developed this blueprint that I used to, and I still use to grow my business. And then people were like, hey man, like, can you come and teach this to the offices?
Sure.
So then I started teaching my blueprint to some of the offices, and people were like, Devin, man, like, you're firing everybody up. You know what I mean? It's not just like, you're not just like, there is something here to where, like, it's more than, like, there's something here that you need to unpack. And then, I realized that I genuinely love getting the best out of people. When I'm in my zone, my peak performance zone is when I'm helping people, when I'm coaching someone, when I'm trying to motivate, inspire someone, get their mind blocks out of their way so they can continue to go. So then I was like, you know what? Like, at this time, and it's still, most people still never think about like hiring a coach. Most people think that, well, hey, after sports, after high school, after college, after professional, you don't need a coach anymore, right? Meanwhile, when you had a coach, you were performing at the best version of yourself, mentally, physically, spiritually, right? So then I was like, man, there's something called coach. I started digging into it, right? So then I started, getting involved with the Keller Williams coaching, stuff like that. And then I was like, you know what, I want to take this to the next level. And then, one of our speakers that we just had in Harvest, one of the top executive coaches in the world, Dave Meltzer, just spoke. But what I did was I just immersed into it. I started following the best like influencers, the best coaches in all aspects of life. And I don't want to go into this story because it's very long, but fast forward, I sought out David Meltzer, who then, outside of the coaching that I was doing, he started coaching me, and then he had me coaching a lot of the people that would reach out to him that couldn't afford him. Right. So I was always doing that coaching, but the problem was when people would reach out, they'd be like, hey, I want some one-on-one coaching, but again, coaching, like, I'm not talking about corporate coaching that your company hires so that you sit in on, like, you actually making an investment yourself to pay someone yourself, not your company, to make you better or to help you perform at a higher level is very uncommon, right? So when people reach out, like, this is what it's going to cost, you know what I mean? Because I'm not just a coach, I actually am building businesses too, which is the difference also. Some people, when they can't do stuff, then they try and coach.
You're not book smart, you're street smart and book smart combined, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know how book smart I am, but for the most part.
You're real life, you know what I mean? You're not just practical information, you are actually putting this stuff into play.
And by the way, I still have so much more room to grow and stuff like that. But anyway, people would reach out and be like, hey, I want one-on-one coaching. Now I tell them, man, like, they're just not used to hearing what it costs to, So then I just always hated telling people that, like, all right, sorry, just follow me, I'll do whatever. So then at one point, a friend of mine who is one of my coaches and who coaches digital marketers throughout the country, he was like, Devin, you need to start a community. And I was like, wow, I never thought about that, right? So then I started the community, and, this was right when COVID happened, right? So there has never been a time where investing in yourself, your mindset, your health, community is more important than when COVID happened.
Sure.
So I then was like, you know what? I'm going to bring this to the market at a pretty much next to nothing rate. And then, because of the brand equity that I built over the past decade, people were like, dude, listen, I've seen you do it. You know what I mean? Like, anything that you're behind, like, I'll support. Plus, like, I'm willing to contribute too. And then literally within a year, we had over 100 members, which is incredible. But that's kind of how it started, man. And that was, I was coaching before, and then it was like, the Harvest has just been the greatest gift for me ever because of I met you through the Harvest, and it's not just me, it's everybody. It's the community. Everybody's helping each other, holding each other accountable, sharing business, challenging each other to do more, to get better. And it's just a community, man, that you really can't find, locally. And it's just the beginning, man. So that's kind of how that started.
It's crazy because you were talking about how people think about coaching, and I've actually told this story more than once. I was at a level where I was like, man, I'm doing really well. I talked to a couple of people in business that I really like and that I believe what they say, and I've used them as mentors and sounding boards and stuff like that. And they were like, listen, man, you need to hire a coach. And I was like, what am I gonna hire a coach for? For real, come on. Like, I'm the 18-year-old kid that had the pizza place. I'm doing this. I don't need a coach. And the dude, as blunt as can be, was like, Tiger Woods had a coach.
And he was the best golfer in the world.
He's like, when he was the best golfer in the world, he had a coach. He said, are you the Tiger Woods of the mortgage industry right now? And I was like, nope. He goes, well, you need a coach then. And I was like, damn, I like it when people talk to me like that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I like
You do the
it,
thing
because I was
bigger, man.
like, oh, okay. And then I literally put a post out on Facebook, yo, who's using coaching, who's doing what? And like 3 people from the Harvest messaged me, and Tyler Arjun was the one that messaged me. He's like, yo, I'm in this group. You know, I'm talking to Devin Denova, and I knew your name from being in the business, but I had never met you really before. And I was like, whatever, I'm in. You know, and really, like, that's been the whole thing. Like you were talking about investing in yourself. You know, people don't think of it in the way that it should be. You know what I mean? Like, you'll spend $7 a day on a latte and a pretzel, but you won't spend $500 a month to make you the best version of you that you have, which could turn into exponential finances. But people are just crazy and cheap with that. So.
Well, listen, man, you know, and when it comes to coaching, guys, like I always tell people, man, it's like, to me, it's worth it just to pay someone just to hold you accountable to do what you say you're going to do. Forget, you know what I mean? Like, but when people think like coach, right, you got to understand, one, you know, look at their background, but if you have somebody, right, and just like you got to figure out who you vibe with, right, but when you have somebody that challenges you, that gives you strategy, that, you know, I'm a student of the game of personal development mindset, and I learn from some of the best coaches, like, and I hire some of the best coaches in the world to help me, and then I deploy everything that I learn, not just from my coaches, from the entrepreneur groups, Ed Milet, Andy Frisella, that I pay to be coached by, but all the stuff that I learned from podcasts, from books, from what helped me in business as a business owner, but leader and friend and all that stuff. But if you can find that person that will continue to keep you focused, it doesn't necessarily have to be like, you know, I know people that hire coaches for their financial situation, for their health, for their marriage, for just their mindset, and then their business, right? So there's a difference between. That's why my lane is performance coaching. I'm not a business consultant to where I'm going to go and dissect the numbers. Like, no, that's a business consultant. Like, I focus on the main machine that's going to make that business drive at the absolute highest level, and that main machine is you, right? So whoever that is, if I can get you, if I can keep your mindset firing at all cylinders, you focusing on your health, getting you out of your own way when your emotions get involved, helping you have like all these different things. If I can get you firing at all cylinders, what do you think is going to happen to your business? You know what I mean? What do you think is going to happen to you as a leader?
Of everything.
Right? So I want everybody to know, if you like, you can, there's, nobody is going to give you the accountability that you need for free. Right? And that's the problem. Most people think, oh, you know, I got this person. Listen, man, fierce accountability needs to be hired. And I'll tell you, it's an investment, not a cost. Right? And I'm not just like, I'm just, whether it's me or anybody else, it does not matter. But somebody that's sitting on this call right now, if you invest in yourself, right, whatever money you put out there, if you are with the right person, you should be able to 10x that investment. Right? There's no better, a lot of people hear this, there's no better investment you can make than on yourself. Right? But the cool thing is about the Harvest, right, for I mean, now we're like $147 a month, which is still next to nothing. Most like coaching programs are 500, one-on-one coaches are at least 1,000 or more. What happens is, for a lot of people, it's their first like investment out of their own pocket, right, into personal development, and it's affordable. And then what happens is they're like, wow, like, this is what it's like. And then more and more people now are like, you know what? Like, this is a breakthrough for me. I've been on this earth for 50 years, and I've never like experience this. And then at an affordable rate, they see what making that invest, like how they're thinking bigger, how just the help of the community in general. Like, you're not alone, like, you know, or you're just thinking bigger, you're challenging yourself more. There's just a difference between being in an environment of people that, no matter where you're at, we got successful business owners in the community, we got all the way down to just salespeople that are still new. But the bottom line is this, man, is it doesn't matter, you can always be challenged to think bigger. You know, and that's what we do in there. And it's the same thing. Everybody in there challenges me. I'm a student just like everybody else in the Harvest. It's a whole community. So you asked about, I didn't mean to go into all this, but
it's a beautiful thing.
It obviously ties into my real estate, because at the end of the day, it's just all about helping people. You know what I mean? So.
All right, so let's go. Now we're going fast forward. 2024, June of 2024. Where is Devin Denova and Tell me some future goals that you want to be knocking off the list in the
What's
next 2 years.
2022? Okay.
2 years.
2 years. Okay, so all right, let me think here. As far as I have like different silos. So
Yeah.
as far as real estate is concerned, in 2 years I want to be at least 50 agents, easily doing well over 100 million a year
Okay.
in the in our real estate company. When it comes to the harvest, I would at least like to be at 500 members.
Okay.
And we're gaining some steam now. We bring on two globally known like high level entrepreneurs a month too. So everybody's starting to see the people that we're bringing in. So
For sure.
everybody's jumping in there. And then I have a whole, I have other businesses too. For example, that I don't promote too much, but I have a software company. I'm in the financial services business with Marshall Falk, Hall of Fame running back. So like that, and I do investment syndication, whatever. I don't mean to go into all this because I may confuse people. But for the most part, I have these all on silos, so I won't get into all that. But for the most part, as far as what I'm on here for, real estate, right, is having 50 agents doing well over 100 million, which we should be close to this year, as far as hitting 100 million, and the harvest in 2 years being at least 500 members.
You still living in Marlton in 2 years?
I don't know, dude. You never know. No,
Marlton's where
will
you're
be
at.
my home base.
Okay.
Right?
Maybe not the same house.
Yeah, maybe
not.
not. No, I don't want to scare my wife again. I'm always like, that's the thing, man. I'm grateful. Like the house that we have now, I the neighborhood, everything. When I was 19 years old, I actually lived in this neighborhood. And when I was in the restaurant business, I was living. My GM got in a divorce, so I moved in with him. I was 19. I never went to college. This is great. And I was like, one day I'm going to live in this neighborhood. And sure enough, I'm 34 years old.
That's awesome.
I'm in that neighborhood. But again, that's just a goal. I'm grateful for it. But it's always like, all right, what's like being grateful, but always like I want to continue to expand. So I already have my eyes on specific developments that like are in the future. But I want to make my wife think about we're going to move in a couple of years anyway. But
nice. All right, your personal question. You can get 30 minutes to interview anyone throughout the history of the world. Dead, alive, anyone. Who would it be? Who would you want to sit down and interview with for 30 minutes?
I mean, to me, and I would say Jesus. You know what I mean? That's like immediately top of mind. That would be my answer.
That would be your answer?
Yeah, that's to me. I'm a big, and I'm continuing to grow on my journey of faith. But for me, that's the person that that will give me every answer that I'm ever seeking in my life.
Yeah, we've
That's
had
it.
like 75, 80 people on the show. I don't know how many people have asked that question, but we've never gotten that answer before. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome.
Well,
Devin, thanks for coming by the
thank you,
neighborhood.
man. I'm proud of you.
Thank
This
you
is
very much.
amazing what you're doing, man. So keep it up, and one day this is going to be a national TV show.
That's what we're shooting for.
Yeah.
Who knew? That's 5 years from now.
I got
Mr.
some.
Mortgages.
Speaking of that, I got some exciting stuff to talk about
Awesome,
off the
brother.
camera with that too.
Awesome. We'll be right back with the next guest on Mr. Mortgage's Neighborhood.
So. See you guys.